Hi, welcome. All
I'm
right,
here.
Commissioner Harvey, you ready to go?
Yeah, I'll say.
Okay, just chomping at the bit. All right, welcome everyone. This is Monday, August 17th. If you can believe that. It's 12:45. This is our weekly meeting of the Weber County Board of Commissioners, our weekly work session. Commissioner Gage Frohr here with me. To my right is Commissioner Jim Harvey, and we're joined by Commissioner Sharon Bolos online today. So welcome, Sharon. With that, I would entertain a motion for approval of the minutes for the commission work session held on August 3rd,
So move.
22nd.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye, motion carries. We're now on our next agenda item, which is a legislative update. We have with us Stephanie Russell, Cortland Erickson, and Sean Wilkinson. We'll go in that order. Stephanie?
Thank you, Commissioner. I just wanted to take a couple minutes to let you know what we've been working on in interim and what we're looking at moving forward, working on for the second half of interim, and then looking at the legislative session for January. And wanted to get some feedback and input as to our efforts for our government affairs efforts. And then give you an update on some of the changes we're making to our government affairs program. And looking forward to the session. So
Okay.
right now, as it stands for 2027, we have one appropriation request, and that is going to be for the capital case sentencing costs for the level case. And I've been working with our attorneys on that to put that appropriation request together. And we'll have that for you to look at once we get it completed. We're working on the budget portion of that request right now. And then Gage and I will be working the interim session to find a sponsor for that particular appropriation.
Well, I thought Jill Colford was gonna do that.
She has offered to do that. We don't have that sealed, that deal sealed, but yes, she has offered.
Okay,
But
More than likely.
it's not official,
thank you.
More
not
than likely.
official.
But we'll find out.
And we will find out, and we won't officially find out until after the final election
Right.
in
Oh.
November.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but for now, we're putting all of our ducks in a row and to make sure we have a really good proposal. We have a lot of, great data to go with this appropriation request, as well as some precedents. We're gonna lean heavy on the, Charlie Kirk.
They just asked for their second million. They got one and now they've asked for a second million.
So we're anticipating our request will be around the same amount.
Right.
Okay, great.
So that's the only appropriation request. Commissioners, if there's something that you would like us to work on for an appropriation, please let me know in the next 30 days if there's another request you have. But for now, this is the only appropriation request we plan on running in January.
Anything that you'd like to request on?
Not at this time.
Okay. Commissioner Ballas, anything?
No, I don't have anything other than that, that I can think of at this point.
Okay, great. I mean, we can always look at something, in the next couple months, but we'd like to get prepared and be ready to come out of the gate. These are highly competitive, and it's good to get out in front of an interim committee before you run these in January. We've had a lot more success by doing that, huh, Gage?
Absolutely. Yep. Earlier is always better.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm sure our attorney, Mr. Cortland Erickson, would agree with that, being the legislative guru that he is.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, see, look at that.
The ambassador of guruism.
Which leads me to the next piece is our actual legislative changes that we're looking at running this session. We've got two in the pipe right now that we've been working on. One we will be running ourselves, and we will be spearheading that one. It's the Veterans Property Tax Exemption.
Yeah.
We're looking at doing some modifications to the existing bill. And Cortland, you and I and Linnell will get together in the very near future and start talking about what that looks like from a language perspective.
Okay.
But currently, as you know, that is a really expensive exemption that the county carries. I think Linnell's numbers, you get us close to 12 million this year. And we're looking to change the state legislation and the statute so that we can have some of that burden taken off of Weber County and spread out a little more equitably throughout the state.
Yeah.
So that, we're really close to drafting some language on that one, Gage, and we just need to start shopping that one in the interim. That one, I really think we need to shop in the interim.
Well, and just for everybody's information, I have asked soon to be Representative Bob Stevenson if he'd be interested, since Davis County is also
Yes.
very close to us in that disproportionate share of that exemption, which, by the way, nobody is saying the exemption's not right. It's just a matter of making it more equitable because we happen to be heavily impacted in Weber and Davis County. So that's what it's about.
12 million in Weber County, 14 million in Davis County.
Mhm.
Is that because of Hillfield?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which represents over 3% for us, but take for instance, Salt Lake County, 0.65%.
There you go.
So it's not equitable.
Good point.
Two of the 29 counties are shouldering the majority of the share.
Mhm.
Are you volunteering to pitch?
You want to testify at committee?
I've got a
I think it's pretty persuasive.
pretty good slider.
All right. Well, we will
So-
keep you in mind.
And there's a couple different so are you working on the draft on that?
He will be.
I will.
Linnell and I, we haven't gotten together with Portland yet. We wanted to just make sure we were for sure running this.
Well, we want to run it. What I'd like to do is maybe come up with a couple of different options to propose to our sponsor. And then as we meet with Ledge Research, get a feel for what route we may want to take. So one would be just to equalize it across the 29 counties.
Yeah.
The other would be to ask for state resources, basically to, again, equalize it. So every county would pay no more than, let's call it 1%. And then the balance would come from a state fund. So there's a couple different pots of money couple ways we could go about it. I'd prefer to have 2 or 3 options available. And then when it gets through committee, never hurts to have if you get a particular committee that likes one way over the other. It's always good to have them weigh in on.
Okay.
My concern, Mr. Chair, is if you go from 0.65% like Salt Lake is up to 1%, I'm worried that they may push back.
Oh, they'll push back.
We're
But
anticipating.
somebody's gonna push back on this. It's a matter of convincing the committee that it's not fair for Weber and Davis to pay 3% in Salt Lake. And just so you know, all of our people in Salt Lake City, but sometimes they just don't have the representation on the Hill that they need to pass a bill. Enough said.
So Cortland, we'll schedule some time, Linnell and I, Linnell wants to stay involved in this particular item.
Okay.
And then we'll get that, and then Gage, we'll get that language to you and we'll set
Yeah.
a meeting with Bob.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
Yeah, we can, again, I think we just come up with a couple different proposals, sit down with them and see which one sticks.
Okay.
Definitely. The only other one, well, there's one that I'm working on with the state, and the inland port, and that is, House Bill 132 that passed a couple years ago, the Energy House Bill. I'm working with a big group out of Salt Lake right now, and Weber County is affected by that, because of the inland port. So I'll just keep you updated on the progress on that. That's being led by Darren Owen.
Oh,
So really trying to make some changes to that, drop that number from 100 megawatts down to 25 or 50 megawatts so that we can actually start doing projects. So I'll keep you up to date on that one. I'm heavily involved in that.
nice.
And then the other one, Andy Beatles had approached me last week. She would like to see us participate in the housing authorities, the change for in their actual state statute. So the county housing development authorities are getting together and hiring a lobbyist. And she was just hoping we'd come in and help support in whatever way we possibly can. I said, absolutely. Looking to make some amendments to that statute, Portland. And I said, we'd even come in and throw in some language options as well.
Okay.
To help them out, get them started and get them going. And it would take out that restriction. It's a very small restriction. It's just actually a couple words. And it takes out the restriction, right here, Gage, on B, we'd amend that. That's what she's looking to amend.
Yeah.
So what it does is it removes the restriction of the county housing development authority having to get a resolution passed by the city in order to do a project inside the city. So, I'll send that,
Yeah, that's,
that to you and you can take a peek at that and,
Is anybody going to push back on that?
oh, yeah.
yeah, the
Okay.
league. Which we won't be running this, we will be we will be providing support and lobby support for this. Really, one of the things that triggered this is she recently had by the way, she's got some excellent funding right now to do some really great projects. And she's been marketing them throughout the county to different cities. She thought she had a good option with South Ogden and was told, yes, bring it to mayor and council. We'll take a peek at it. We're interested. And it just got shut down. And she didn't get to go before them in a meeting. They sent her a letter, which is not necessarily even legal, but she's like, okay, I'll take my project elsewhere. So we need a little more cooperation in this county with these types of housing projects. They're fully funded. They have the social work to back them. They are mandated by the state, and having this slight change in the state statute will allow for better cooperation. But it's no different, Sean, than doing an annexation bill.
Sure.
Yes, the answer to your question is yes.
And the idea would be to take it to an admin, because housing authorities usually get, when they sit down with the mayor and the staff, they understand zoning and those issues. It's when it gets to the council, sometimes they don't understand the need for affordable / homeless to a certain extent. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be a major shift, but I think it would be enough. Again, the city admin would still be involved with that process. It wouldn't take them out, but try to just eliminate some of the politics.
Exactly. That's exactly what it would
Yeah.
do. So we'll see if we can come up with some great wording and I'll loop you in on that one. Those are the only 3 legislative statutes that we're working on from a county perspective. Is there anything that you'd like to else see addressed? I'm sure something will pop up as we get closer to session.
Yeah, I think there'll
But
be
these
some
are ones
others.
we
Yeah.
want to do in the interim.
Oh.
So I have a, I do know that Ogden City plans on, look, for the last 10 years I've been here, the 24th Street full interchange has not only been on the WFRC's radar, but it's been funded.
Okay.
And the reason it's not underway is because the design keeps falling. And pretty much, I've been told that the big hangup is the halfway house out on 24th Street. That needs to be relocated, or
Is that a state
it's a
facility?
state facility.
Okay.
So that leads me to believe, though, how many halfway houses are there across the state?
What, 2 or 3? Not very many.
We have a Lantern House, we have halfway houses, we have all these houses for all these folks. Preventing a major interchange, which will really, that interchange has to be in for the Olympics. I can tell you that the Olympics priority, they have 5 priorities on their list, 2 of which are, well, one of is 84 and 80, well, 84 and 89 is one.
That's a big one.
84 and Trappers Loop's another. Those are the two, although that one's in Morgan. 24th has got to be in because they plan on getting people from south to here. They're getting, Front Runner is another, by the way, of those 5. They plan on moving a lot of people to here and have charged Ogden City with probably doing the same parking they did at the mouth of Weaver Canyon. You might remember that. To go there. And so they would front runner to 24th Street. They've got to be able to have a good access once they leave 24th Street Intermodal Hub right over here to get up and onto the freeway. And that's got to get done. And right now, every time the design's all having to work around that. I don't know if that's a huge lift, but we have all these houses in Ogden. I wonder if we couldn't move the house somewhere else. I don't know much more about it than that. This is my thoughts only exactly. I have no idea about the halfway house. We've got the youth detention center out there also by the sheriff's office. We have all these houses and it doesn't seem like Box Elder, Morgan, Cache, Davis County, they got any houses. So we continue to bear all the burden for things up here in the north. So I'd like to spread that around, especially if it means that it's prohibiting us from a major intersection, which will be basically the front door of the Olympics, for the Olympics and for tourism. I don't want to, I hate to let something like that block of any potential for the Olympics. So that's a big thing for me.
Okay.
And I'll get a little more information on that, but I'd like that to be at least a bleep, on the radar, you see the radar? At least a bleep somewhere on the radar coming in.
No, this is good to know. I'm gonna add this to our priority list and Gage and I can do a little troubleshooting.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that the halfway house was
I didn't know that
in the
either.
way of the design.
I didn't know that until the last 2 or 3 weeks, because I kept
Okay.
asking them, Ogden City, what's holding this up? We've given you Prop 1 money,
Yeah,
you got money from the state, and they keep saying it's this design, and really what it is it's this halfway house. And
well, that's a state facility.
I'm just telling you what they told me.
Okay,
Well, I'm just being the messenger.
You're
I'm just letting you know.
We'll add it to the
good to know.
list.
We'll find out.
Absolutely.
So,
Chris, we're just going over our legislative priorities as of right now, for the rest of the interim and potentially for January. Is there anything that you might want to add to that conversation?
Just the ones that you're already working on and have done a tremendous amount of work with, the legislative appropriation in the capital case. There was a couple of changes that Lauren had seen of maybe needing for grandma, but I can
Oh.
have her get you with you on those.
We actually just talked about that this
Oh,
morning.
okay.
Did you,
Yeah.
have you got that on your radar?
No, well, I didn't know I was waiting to hear back from
Oh.
Lauren, what Chris wanted to do. Do you want to look at state statute changes or do you want to do policy changes internal?
I think
Or both.
I think there was actually a state statute change that needed to happen to make grandma a little more clear as far
Okay.
as I think it was investigative records.
Yeah.
So I'll have her get with you on that. But
Okay.
no, thank you. It's always better to be proactive than reactive at the legislature, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we definitely need to get on that one, Gage, and if there, and it's not just us, there's several,
No.
there's some give me a little more information on who's running that and how we can support it.
Is somebody running a bill on that or?
No,
There's been some
somebody
chatter.
was just asking, I don't, maybe they are on this one, but someone was just asking if there's an opportunity, if they're gonna open up grandma to make some fixes.
Mhm.
Another one, I've got Lauren looking at this, is with Wake, the transportation fund. They took out in there a statutory provision that allows us to recoup administrative expenses. And so I'm having Lauren double check to make sure that to see if it's somewhere else in the statute, but we might want to be able to make a change that allows the counties to pay for salaries and things off of those transportation funds.
Is that our B and C road funds? Is
Yeah,
that,
they took that out of the statute for some reason. It might have been an oversight, but we may have to take a look.
will you have her look at that?
This isn't it's not the funds that we collect that are distributed through WACOG, is it?
So there's a change that came, we used to be able to collect, it said the department could collect. And I think you may have looked at this issue before in the past, the department could collect and pay for admin and overhead expenses from that. That was stricken from the statute, so we need to see if that's an oversight or if there's a way for us to get that back in there for the counties to be able to use those funds. So
Yeah, let's
that's
find-
probably one of them.
Let's find out where, if it was in there before, let's find out, and it should be easy to at least find out the rationale.
Okay.
Unless-
Have her shoot that one to me too.
And let's find out what pot of money we're talking about.
That could be just a little disconcerting, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
So I'd say business still is usual and normal and just continue using those funds.
Yeah.
And if we need to make a legislative change to allow us to use that, that we just make sure that's clear.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to. look
Those
at
are
that.
quick little cleanup bills as we.
Yeah, I like those.
Cleanup.
Just one last thing, and that is, I'm working with Chris Crockett's department and procurement to put together our outside legislative advocacy services, proposal. So I'll have that to you guys in the next week or two.
Perfect.
And I think, sorry, I don't know if this ties into legislative, but Stephanie and I are going to be working at drafting an ordinance to cover strategic planning
Oh, good.
for both capital projects and also ongoing regular projects. But we might also want to combine that into the finance committee ordinance that's from 2008 that talks
Okay.
about bonding.
Yeah,
We want to make
Oh.
it all into one.
I like that idea.
There are so many committees out there.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's great.
Let's consolidate those. Yeah.
Yep, I love it. Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
That's all I have, commissioners.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey, questions, comments?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Bolos,
Nope, I don't, thank you.
thank you. Okay, anything else? Stephanie,
I'm great.
appreciate it. Good work. So that'll be, and if anybody has it, we can get the word out, Chris. If you're working with Lauren on these, there's still time if we need, especially on those small tweaks,
Yeah,
cleanups, I call them. We can do those all day long.
Yeah.
It's a major piece, like if it's an annexation, that takes a little more time, sure. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll get those changes to you right away.
yeah, that'd be great.
okay, with that, we'll go to our 1 o'clock. Just slightly, Sean, you're involved with this.
Yes.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Cortland.
Portland, always a pleasure.
Back.
Always, it's always a pleasure. Boy, you got your guys working overtime, Chris.
Wow,
Here on Saturday doing the work of the people.
Aren't they amazing?
Amazing.
I was the show, or.
It was great,
Yeah.
actually. Afternoon, guys. Well, Mr.
Oh,
Reynolds.
goodness, great.
wow.
you, Mr. Harvey?
Oh, yeah.
You sit by me.
I'm sitting by you. What am I in trouble for today?
Was that a challenge or an invitation? I'm not.
How we doing?
Somebody to here and over there. Don Hart.
Welcome,
Commissioner?
how you doing?
Good
Good to see you.
Tell me your name again, Riker, Garden Engineering.
Roger, nice to meet you.
Brent, I'm just
Work
kidding, but there isn't a
okay,
for me.
You wanna?
You an engineer?
I change everything that he puts on paper.
All right, welcome everyone. We're now at our 1 o'clock discussion regarding interlocal on 2550 South. We have with us, what happened to Ashley?
He's right behind you.
Ashley Tolman, Sean Wilkinson, Gary Myers here, Brent Edwards. Brent, you want to introduce your people that you brought with you?
Yeah, so we've got our district manager, Ryan Rogers,
Yep.
and Riker. Sit at the table.
Riker can come up here.
Right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
And you know Liam, I don't know if he's here for me or for you,
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's keeping us in straight.
He's sitting in for Chris Crockett, yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, Ashley, your show. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, a couple of weeks ago, we met with commissioners in a work session and talked about with the 2550 South widening project, there were utility conflicts that we needed to come up with a way to resolve them. And so we presented the idea of creating an interlocal agreement that would help bridge the gap that would allow us to use WACOG funds to pay for these conflicts. And so this interlocal agreement is between Weber County and Taylor West Weber to address the culinary water conflicts, such as fire hydrants, meter location. Taylor West Weber has a water line replacement project planned for the water line that exists in 2550. This is being funded through a grant. Is that correct, Bryn? No.
No, this is just district funds. It's not
Okay.
impact fees on this one. We're just putting the bill for it.
Okay, and so as we've talked with Taylor West Weber about what their plans are to replace this water line under what will be a new road, and looking at what conflicts exist because of us widening it, this was an approach to try to work together to, in my opinion, benefit the taxpayers, that there won't be damage to a new road because of old infrastructure. So it's kind of a partnering to end up with not just a pretty road on top, but utilities underneath that won't ruin our pretty road.
So Taylor West, if I may, Mr.
Go ahead.
Chair. So you have this programmed into your, and we have it programmed, but do we need to accelerate the year of which then when those funds are released?
No.
Okay,
No, we're good.
Yeah, the timing, the WACOG funds are available. Sounds like your water line money is available. We're talking about a timeline of having Taylor West Weber bid their water line project out and get that done early spring, ahead of the construction
of 27.
of 27. And then allowing them to have some cost savings by doing a smaller patch of asphalt, which then their contractor or their district would manage and tend. It'd be better than road base, but it could, 2 inches of asphalt could blow out. But that would be their responsibility to maintain asphalt until we get to construction. Then
Which
It
is when?
we're planning spring. We're
Okay.
looking to bid this widening project out in about the next month. We're in kind of final design. We have an open house planned for September 2nd to meet with the residents and go over some of the details or answer questions that they may have for their property specific impacts.
Okay.
And then incorporate feedback or questions from that open house into the final design. And then get it bid out so they can start with the canal crossing this fall and have that torn out after water gets shut down. Tear that out, replace that box culvert, extend it so a wider road and trail will fit over that. And then have that in service ready for April. That was a big concern irrigation company had, was making sure we're
But
not.
the bridge isn't your guys.
No,
They'll install a casing underneath it when they do that portion of it, that we can slip the new water line through,
Okay,
but.
so tell me what you're putting in a brand new water line, what you doing?
So Jolly's done Ryan's done a great job since he become our manager. Anytime any other municipalities decided to come in and do a project, reconstruct a road, 98% of the time it's always been with WACOG funds. We want to partner with them and we find a way within the district to come up with the funds to replace the water line underneath it. There's no need to have old infrastructure under a new big road. 2550, we actually are very fortunate to be able to. We had a couple bids come back under what we had budgeted for, which give us the allotted funding to actually do 2550, where it's not eligible for impact fees. The district's got to pay 100% of it out of their budget. And what we've done, just like partnering with those other municipalities, anytime, because obviously the road widening is going to push meters back, going to push fire hydrants back. And then also there'll be a, storm drain going in. So when there's a conflict with the storm drain, obviously it's got to stay at grade. So our pressurized line, we can put the bellies in the line, which then we come in ahead of time, we get our water line replaced. It's all new, done. Then they come, your project or the other municipalities come behind. We're not having to re-shut down water lines, cut into new water infrastructure in order to accept those crossings and stuff. Just partnering between the two agencies. We even did it with UDOT on a project on 12th Street this year. Basically, Riker takes his design after Ashley does his design with the storm drain so that we don't run into them conflicts. It's worked great. And I mean, Gary's team and Ashley's been great to work with to get this interlocal put together and done, working with us on it.
And we're fortunate that the design team for the district and our design, it's the same company. Gardner Engineering is
Okay.
designing the road widening, and they are the design engineers for the district. So they're coordinating, very well. So that helps.
Commissioners, historically, we've seen situations where new roads have gone in and maybe infrastructure similar to this has not been addressed, has not been looked at. And there's nothing more annoying, more irritating than to watch contractors rip right through brand new asphalt that never patches the same, and there's always differential settlement. This is kind of the ounce of prevention approach, even though it's a little bit more than an ounce from the district's end of things, but we're confident in the long run, this is a much better situation for all of us, so.
Okay, what's our dollar amount?
So the estimate they've included comes to 294,000.
For our share?
Or, yeah. And that would be contingent upon the bid prices. I'm hopeful with the way we're looking at doing minimal asphalt and import, because the road project's gonna come in and tear that
Yeah.
all out.
It's
So
going anyway, no.
Yep.
let's not put a bunch of money into backfill that just needs to be there for a couple, maybe a month. So I'm hoping that amount is the ceiling comes down with the bids you guys end up getting.
All of our projects out there, we always bid import to come in and bed them pipes, very seldomly just given, and especially in this location, it's so sandy on that hill. There's probably we prepare for the worst when we bid it out. But knowing we're only gonna pay on quantities that come in for it, so.
After,
Yeah.
So you pay per weight ticket, not a lump sum
Yep.
for them. So you'll see the actual cost of import.
Yeah, so we bid, Riker does his design thinking we're gonna fill that whole trench.
Yeah.
Knowing worst case, that's what our cost is, but generally, and that's one of the reasons why we've got extra money to pull this project off, because others, we have put that money aside for it, but now we can move it because we didn't use it. So
got it,
that's a worst case number.
got it. Okay, what else? Ashley?
Yeah, so that's the Taylor West Weaver interlocal agreement. We also have an easement encroachment agreement between Weber County and Wilson Irrigation Company. It's like a license agreement that makes sure we're both on the same page as far as removing that canal, putting in a new box culvert. And we worked a lot with, again, Gardner Engineering's designer, Mike Durchie, and Stratford, Kevin, to make sure they were comfortable with our commitment to get it back in service in time. And making sure they're part of the inspection process, and any issues that come up from construction, they're part of that process so that it's done the way that they're satisfactory with. And so there's no cost per the agreement other than the construction costs.
Right,
But that is
so
something.
we just have the easements in.
Yeah, this would be utilizing it. A lot of it's in the right of way, some of it's outside. To be on their property and to touch their facilities.
Okay. All right,
So any questions?
Commissioner Bolos, questions or comments?
I don't have any questions. I appreciate the explanations.
Great, Commissioner Harvey.
Is there any unintended consequence that comes from doing this?
The canal crossing or
Either
any of it?
one. It's hard, now I'm asking you to predict what could be the negative side for the county? Could there be any? I appreciate people looking forward to this, and I'd like to do everything we can. Not just in this project, using this as an example, but moving forward, where we could almost reward. So if we weren't doing this, it would cost Taylor West Weaver, let's use them for example, a little more money because they'd have to do more. What I'd like to be able to do is be able to have them use a little less money and have that little less money augment whatever we're doing, if the timing could work itself out. So this whole thing, the interruption for the people who live along there may be a little longer, but it's better than, I'd rather be inconvenienced for 5 or 6 weeks than 2-4 weeks at a time. You know what I'm saying? 4 weeks here, then 4 weeks here, and 8 weeks. You see what I'm saying? So could there be any possible,
I think the intended consequence of this is that we work better with the other utility companies.
Agreed.
In our right of way.
I think it's great.
And minimize disruption to the public too.
I remember when Harrison Boulevard was redone. You might not be old enough for that. Bren, I know you're not old
Brent's
enough.
not old enough, I am.
Ryan, you certainly are. But as soon as they got done doing all that years of Harrison Boulevard, the first thing they did a week later, start tearing holes across the whole thing. And now it's like, I couldn't believe it. I just thought, can't you get it together?
It's I think that's one of the challenges that utilities like Taylor West Weaver have, is trying to understand what the county is trying to do and their timelines, so they can budget ahead and coordinate
Great.
to save money, because yeah, nobody likes tearing up asphalt.
It's a lot of
especially new asphalt.
I love the fact that there's coordination. This doesn't happen hardly anywhere. This is great. I love it.
Well, I'm taking that you're okay with it.
Absolutely.
All
I
right.
mean, I'd like to know whatever possible surprises there could be, but I don't know if we'd know those, but I think it's
this
great.
takes a lot of the surprises out of it, just
Yeah,
with that design
certainly.
coordination and all that.
Is there anybody else other than water?
Their secondary
Cable,
water.
what about fiber? What about those dudes that are running for, I guess everywhere that I see connects everywhere, or
Yeah,
Utopia, or one of them?
Thankfully, they're generally at the outer edge of your corridor.
But
we're gonna.
I've
invite
said
them.
this before,
Yeah,
and now I want you to listen. It's a lot easier to put the pipe in the ground now
I think I've heard you
than it
say that
is to
before.
tear it up later.
Well, even if it's just a conduit, you know.
We couldn't get Bronco to understand that
No.
concept, and he's a pipe salesman.
I think he'd wanna sell, well, he likes selling pipe twice. Let's be honest.
We're gonna
He
invite,
always makes more money selling it twice.
Yeah,
we're gonna
and we
invite,
pay 15 times more money.
we have that open house scheduled that we'll invite the utility companies to, that they can attend, but also we'll get them our drawings so they can see what we're planning and they can.
Well, let's please do that. Could we please?
Yeah.
Instead of them having to bore or even boring, they're gonna drill through somebody's pipe or do something. Let's everybody work together.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Lem, have you looked at this?
I have looked at that and my office approved it. Yeah,
No
there's a
problem.
few red lines that we will make black, but
Okay.
otherwise we were good with it. In fact,
Okay.
my office actually drafted it.
Okay, I like your planning here. This is putting let's not put the cart before the horse. This is taking advantage of it. Our timing looks good. And I agree. There's no reason to make this more complicated than tear a brand new road up. Helps you guys, helps the project out there. As
Saves tax.
far as I'm concerned, you got a green light.
As far as you're concerned, it's putting the harness on the right place.
It is, yeah. Harness that.
Or as they say out west, harness.
All right, Brent, anything else?
No, sir, thank you for your time.
You didn't know this.
I think you got to go ahead.
Okay, thank you, then.
And then, do I need to sign that easement or?
We'll bring these to the formal commission meeting
Okay, next
for
week.
approval.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This, you're doing the interlocal next week as well?
I think so, if we can get it, all the drafts.
I'll make it all black and ready to go today.
All right,
Okay,
Wow.
yeah.
get it on the agenda.
Get it
That's
out.
because you got caught up on the weekend.
Yes, you know it.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you, commissioners.
Take care.
thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Thanks,
Brent.
sir.
I need you to settle down next time. You
Yeah.
come. You're a little too loud.
It's a little rough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, bud'd be proud,
Well, look,
real proud.
we are on schedule. Look at that.
That's what I tried for.
It's what you do, no try.
Later, Liam.
Come back anytime.
Sharon, we'll be right back. We're just waiting for Commissioner Harvey to take a little saunter.
Sounds good.
Sharon, we're gonna call you for this next closed session.
Okay,
what you
sounds good. I'll leave the meeting then.
Is that what you normally do is put in, yeah, because we'll need to record it, so
Yeah.
I'll start this when you're ready. And, and then I'll
You want me to
just,
log out of this?
We didn't call her cell or what?
have a cell phone.
So you didn't call from here? There you go. Okay.
Sharon, what's your cell phone number?
Let's call you right now.
I'll go grab my phone
Here,
and
you
I'll
need-
stop the recording.
Okay, we got Sharon with us. Let's get started on our 2 p.m.
Mr. Chair,
Oh.
motion to cease to saunter.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're now ceased to on. We're back on the 2 o'clock discussion regarding Black Pine Pioneering Agreement. Gary Myers is with us. Daniel Stevens is with us. Chris Crockett, Liam Keough, Sean Wilkinson, Bill Ross, Chad Meyerhopper, Stephanie Russell. I'm Warren Thomas. Okay. Gary, you're listed first. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks for the time, commissioners. Got with us Black Pine today. A few weeks ago, I reached out to Daniel and I let him know that I know Daniel and Dallin have been talking to me for quite some time now, requesting pioneering agreement. Due to some internal conversations I had and with different folks here at the county and different departments. Ultimately, it came down really to what I explained to Daniel in the email is it's not really our infrastructure that we're accepting, owning, and operating and maintaining. So it's really not our place to give a pioneering agreement on infrastructure that we will not operate or own in the future. So with that, I'll let you guys, excuse me. So after I sent him that email, Daniel wanted to meet with commissioners one last time to talk about this and explain why, in their minds, they felt like it was deserving of a pioneer agreement is probably the best way of putting it. And with that,
Yeah.
I'll let you guys present your side.
Great. Thanks for coming in or letting us come in and present to you guys. It's been a long time on this project. We're going back through time, and 2022 is when we started talking about this.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time. Just a refresher, this is the Promontory Commerce Center that we have that development agreement for. This is where the lift station is, and it comes all the way here to 4100. It's about 2.5 miles. The project itself at capacity was designed as part of the regional sewer study that the county commissioned and that we're following. You know, it allows for 5,760 ERUs in the lift station and just under 14,000 ERUs in the gravity. And right now the budget price based on, you know, that we bid it out and overruns and things like that, it's going to end up costing around $21 million for this section of sewer. So just thought it would be helpful as a refresher. It's been a long time. So we went back through time, wanted to present or show you guys this, and this may look familiar from what we showed you before. As part of Promontory Commerce Center, we really went into it with a public-private partnership mindset in that we presented there was going to be over $100 million of infrastructure that was going to be required for this area and for this project to go. And baseline cost, which would be a developer cost typically, was about 50 million. And then the overburden or the additional cost for all the upsizing and requirements to service the broader area was about $53 million. How we initially proposed that $102 million get funded is that developer would put in 80% of the funding, which would be a combination of our dollars, our cash and equity, and then the PID that we have adding a mill levy to our property, which is taxing ourselves. And then the county investment through tax increment financing and the ARPA funds would come in at around $21 million. So we were already out of the gates when we signed the development agreement. We were already committing to fund roughly 80% of the total invest, even though 53 million of that was overburdened for the regional area. Just a brief timeline of events, just to give you guys, again, going back in time. In August of 22 is when the general plan was formally adopted. We started sewer discussions in September of 22, and that was with the county level. And then in October, what the discussions were there is the county, to Gary's point, said this isn't a line that we would want to own and operate. Let's go talk to Central Weber Sewer. So we began the annexation process with them. The county commissioned a sewer study from Aqua Engineering to say, okay, what should the regional sewer infrastructure look like for all the way out to west, like 9,000 west, all the way to tie into Central Weber Sewer District. We were given that study and started to plan our project around going with the sizing that the county had recommended. The annexation was approved in March of 2023 with certain stipulations, as you guys might remember, that the county or Central Weber put on the county and the developer as it related to the line. We have an interlocal, or we have an agreement with Central Weber and the county that the county is a part of that articulates some of those stipulations. So we entered into that. They adopted a proposal at their board meeting. Shortly after that, the CRA was drafted and approved. We went the traditional route with the CRA originally. If you remember, before the inland port came in, we went to all the boards and got their sign off on the CRA. I thought it was cool that the school district said that this was one of the best public-private partnerships they'd ever seen because of what we were presenting as our
I
contribution.
think I went there to help you with that, didn't I?
You did, yeah. Yeah, you and Stephanie were there, so very much appreciate that. And then shortly after that is when the inland port came in and we decided to abandon the CRA traditional process and go with the inland port. But there's an agreement with the trunk line that they agreed to take it. We agreed to service 2 years of maintenance as part of so build the initial lift station and trunk line, give them 2 years of maintenance costs, and Central Weber Sewer would then adopt or we'd give it to them and they would service it down from that point going forward. Shortly after that, we created the PIDs, and then we had, like we talked about, the inland port came on, and then we started going through the design process. We got the ARPA funds officially awarded after that, and then we began construction October of 25. And I think we'll talk about the AIB loan and special assessment bond, because I think that's where a lot of the misinformation, the misunderstanding is coming from, is how we're actually funding this. So this should help.
Can you move that, tip it over on its side?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
So this is the size of the trunk main and what our project will actually use. So we sized this for the county's requirements based on the regional study that was commissioned by the county. We're going to end up using 3% of the capacity of the line that we're putting in place. And what it would have cost us to do our own sewer line, had we just done our own project, is $3 million. We gave that study, we had BHI do it, we had Horrocks design it, BHI price it. Gary and Chad have a copy of that, because when we were going through the original study, we tried to show them how that would be priced, and we'd shave that off the top of the pioneering ask, which is what we've done. So if you look at the budget of the project, $21 million, 5 million of that's ARPA funds. 5 million of that is an AIB loan. So what is the AIB loan? The state inland port, or the inland port, was able to help us with a $5 million loan with a 3-year term that has to be paid back by us, and it was personally guaranteed by us, and our land is used as collateral for that loan. So it's not free money from the inland port. It's a loan that we got for 3 years. And then we issued a special assessment bond on our property using the PID, which is also a loan. So we took out debt using our land as collateral to pay for that $11 million of the incremental cost of the sewer line. So of the $21 million, $16 million we're personally liable for. We've signed guarantees on the loan. We backstopped it with our property, and that's how we're funding this thing. So the only money that does not have a repayment requirement is the ARPA funds that you guys were able to get from the state and then pass along to us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So what we're asking for is you take the $21 million, you would obviously shave off the ARPA funds that you guys were successfully able to get. And in a traditional pioneering agreement, it's the upsizing costs, right? So we would shave off the costs of what it would have cost us to put in our own system, which is the $3 million. And so what we're asking for is a pioneering agreement that would backstop the $13 million. What that translates into, because of the size of the pipe, is roughly between $500 and $1,700 per ERU. So instead of having to put in a $25,000, $30,000 septic system, somebody could pay between $500 and $1,700 and have a sewer connection, to obviously paying their normal impact fee to Central Weber, but for us, it would only be $500 to $1,700. So just to make it abundantly clear, this debt, if we don't have a way to service the debt, there is not a zero chance that Promontory Commerce Center and us, we lose our property, go bankrupt, and the entire region gets free sewer. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
So what you're not including though is your PID. And you're not including the inland port 67% increment or is it 65? What is it? 67? Where does that factor into your debt repayment? Because that's what those two incentives are for, are to pay back your bond. That's literally what those two incentives are for.
Yeah, so going back to
So explain.
Going back to this, like we also can't forget that. So if you look at this map, this chart here, sanitary sewer total cost here, we had about 14 million. This is for the entire area of Promontory Commerce Center, which is this entire park. Right now, for just that, we're $21 million, right? So our budget is already blown on sewer, and we still, with the entire tax increment, you're still only getting to 21 million. So we're already overpaying what our budget was.
Well, what about
and still not recovering.
expansion of the PID when we expanded it into the Bennett? So that was part of the reason we did that, was because we knew that would connect into the sewer as well. So that was part of the incentive, was for us to do that second amendment and expand into Bennett Farms.
That's what I remember.
So how does that figure in? Because truly, PIDs
Yeah.
and CRAs or tax increments are there to
Yeah.
help you pay off the bonds. That's why we created the PID.
Yeah, PIDs, it's just debt. So I know it's a perception that there's some money that doesn't have to be paid back. It's literally just debt
I
that's
understand it,
taken
but
out.
that-
But you put the debt on
You guys in
the,
the inland port, so you have that, you have a second revenue stream.
Which is that. So
Which
the
is your
entire
inland port.
inland port, when DA Davidson did their tax increment study, they could generate $21 million with the entire tax increment.
And just to add to that, it's important to note that none of our current capital is tax increment financing capital, because there was no market. We explored that with DA Davidson when we were figuring out how to fund this.
Okay.
And they said, right now, there is no market for tax increment finance backed bonds because there's no development at the site yet. 3 years from now, 3 years from now, when there's projects going, there's increment being generated, we've got some users signed up, then we will be able to go out and refinance into tax increment bonds, which based on DA Davidson's estimates should be around $21 million. But we have $53 million of overall regional overburden for the project. So we're still going to be coming out of pocket to pay for additional regional infrastructure. Another point that's important to mention with how we like the practicalities of getting reimbursed for these costs. There's a third-party engineer that reviews all of our invoices. Stephanie knows this process really well. And so it is impossible for us to double dip on reimbursements because every reimbursement request that we make has to be certified by the third-party engineer that it's an eligible cost. So if we do that once, we can't go back and request the same cost be reimbursed by a different funding source because it's all reviewed by that third-party engineer through the PID. So there's legally, there's not a way for us to kind of double dip in that
My
way, if
question
that's what
then
you're
is-
asking.
Okay, that helps out a lot, but my second question is, originally, when we talked about doing the pioneer agreement, it was through the development agreement terms and conditions, which would give the reimbursement directly to Black Pine and not the PID. And that was my concern, is that if we were gonna do any type of reimbursement for connection, that would go to pay off the PID bond.
Which is what we're asking for, to be clear.
Yeah, we're okay with that.
Cause in the development agreement, Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, it says Black Pine LLC, not Promontory Commerce Center PID.
Yeah, and to us, it's not we're on the hook for the debt as Black Pine LLC, the Gardner Group, we're personally liable for, we had to sign guarantees, like I said. So to us, it's got coming out of our pocket either way, but to have it flow through the pit is totally fine and appropriate.
Yeah, cause I would imagine the majority of the people that would be contributing to that pioneering agreement would be your Bennett Farms,
Which we plan to do.
which we
Yeah.
purposely increased that PID to incorporate that extra 5 mils to go towards the sewer system. That was really the reason for expanding
So-
that PID.
So Bennett, I guess, slightly confused there. We're not, the sewer system was already under construction before Bennett even came in for entitlements. So we expanded the area to be able to have the option to issue bonds, but it was never earmarked for this particular project, I guess.
Okay.
So the PID, I mean, like I said, this was well under construction before even Bennett was even a thing. And we fully anticipated paying pioneering dues at the Bennett level for any ERU that we used. We actually put it in our underwriting to reimburse the other project for connections. Cause yeah, we will be using some of those ERUs with that project, and we just plan to reimburse. Or just pay that.
And they're
fee.
two totally separate entities, separate investors, separate projects. So this, Bennett Residential is over here. That entity will pay these pioneering fees to help reimburse costs that are being borne and ultimately guaranteed by PCC Land LLC.
Got it.
And that's the only land that's guaranteed, it's an obligation to.
But
the
it's all
state.
one PID commission, and that's something we have
Yeah.
to take into consideration. They may be separate projects, but they're in one PID. And that PID is governed by a governing document. And
Yeah.
inside the governing document, it lists what the PID is responsible for paying for and for building.
So the PID takes into account Bennett.
Correct.
Yeah, we did 3 districts we did 3 districts with
Okay.
Promontory Commerce Center.
I remember that
We
now.
used District 1 for the special assessment.
Okay.
It can only do a special assessment bond, it can't add mill levies.
Which is the one they just did, is the.
That's the
special.
one that we just did. District 2 will be earmarked for Promontory Commerce Center if we were to go out and do mill levies at some point. And then District 3, we could earmark for Bennett. So
Okay.
you can't have overlapping districts and they can't do the same thing twice.
Got it.
So,
Okay. Stephanie, anything else?
Just, and also take in consideration that the tax increment finance is set in place for 25 years. So they can collect on that for 25 years at the 60, is it 67 or 64? 67%,
67.
yeah.
Yeah, and so that is again, that was put in place to try to recapture a lot of the overburden, just not just sewer, right? There's a lot of other things that we have to do for the entire region. We're doing a 1 million-gallon water tank that's gonna be under construction here shortly. We needed like 250,000 gallons for our fire storage for the entire build out. We're doing 1 million gallons. So there's a lot of overbuilding that we're doing to service the entire region, because that's what we wanted to help. We knew that building a project of this scale and the tax increment that it could generate could shoulder some additional lift. And we were willing to do that as long as we had a good partner in the county, which you guys stepped up to the plate for.
So, and one other thing to consider too, just so that we understand the flow of money. The inland port agreement is with Black Pine LLC, not the PID. So the only agreements with the PID are what we put in our governing document. And the infrastructure that we're requiring, that we put in the governing document.
So the money for the inland port flows through the land LLC, PCC land, which will have all the costs. So it's the same owner that owns the land, and that's where all the costs will be incurred. So it doesn't flow outside of the entity that's bearing the burden of the cost. And to Dallin's point earlier, we have to show a cost in order to get reimbursed for the cost. And if we've been reimbursed for it with ARPA funds or with some other mechanism, we can't double dip. There's a lot of controls in place through this third party group that we have to, we go through a forensic audit every time we send in. We have to send in backup support, and it's a pretty robust process. That's completely arm's length third party. So.
But that's just for the PID, not for Black Pine.
Yeah, it's the tax increment that we have to do the same, where we have to submit for qualifying expenses to make sure they're included.
So, and also just to clarify, the AIB loan from the inland port was with Black Pine, not with the PID. So the only thing that we've done with the PID so far is the 5 million ARPA funding. There hasn't been any other funding that's ran through the PID except for that 5 million.
Yeah, so
that we're clear on that.
And the special assessment.
And the special assessment, yeah,
But the future potential is quite large.
very large, because we expanded the PID into the Bennett farms. And they're getting 67% of the tax increment off the property for 25 years.
And just to clarify, the tax increment over the 25 years is very large. But the amount of bondable funds estimated by DA Davidson that you can get from that to repay that debt is $21 million.
But there's also the other component of the PID that allows you to do the mill levy in the future too.
Yes, which
That's another source of revenue that's going to be coming.
that's correct. And in the case of PID number 1, where we own all this property, we'd be taxing ourselves in order to generate those proceeds.
Which is just the short term. I mean, eventually the plan is to sell this off, and then tax, those people who own that will be responsible for the tax and the assessment bond.
If we were to sell it.
But there's a market dynamic there, right? Like if you enter into, part of our due diligence anytime we buy a property is to look for special assessments on the title.
It's the long-term plan though, I assume.
Yeah. I just meant what I was trying to say is if I go into a property knowing there's a special assessment on it, there's a heavy discount on the property that I'm buying. So it's not like we're gonna be able to get full market value and figure out a way to hoodwink somebody to
There's
pass
all
on
kinds of
the tax.
notices that'll be on the property and
Yes.
everything, and then you have to play that balance though, but I mean,
Correct.
eventually it's it's to transfer ownership, I assume.
We're long-term holders, we have assets in the county that we've planned to hold forever. So is there a scenario that we sell off some of this? For sure. Is there a very high scenario likelihood that we hold on to a lot of it? Absolutely. And we're very careful on our tax, we're not gonna issue mill levies on this thing that are gonna make it so that our tenants, we'd have to subsidize them because I'm competing against BDO and Davis County and everywhere else. And the tenants are gonna be looking at the taxes, right?
And there's already a cap on the mill levy, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's capped at
5
5.
mils. So there are market dynamic protections in place there that we're gonna have to, if we go and say, I'm gonna do 5 mils, we're gonna have to subsidize somewhere else. Either the land value if we sell land, the rental value if we lease the property or what.
Sounds Is there a cap on the total TIF?
No, there's a couple of clauses. One is that it has to be used for infrastructure and has to be reimbursed.
There's no cap.
There's no cap. The cap is the 67% for 25 years,
Okay.
but there's no actual cap like we normally do.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got a very specific list on what it can be used for in the agreement,
Yeah,
we knew we had the list. I just,
so. it's-
typically we put a cap in.
it wasn't us. That is their agreement with the
in
inland
the
port.
port.
So that's the end of.
That's the inland port agreement. Yeah.
The PID governing documents do have a cap
Yeah.
on the total
Okay.
amount of debt that the PID.
Yes,
So I
that
thought
one
the
does.
PID
Yes, that does. And it has a cap on the millage rate also.
Yeah, got it. Okay, what else, gentlemen?
Just one additional thought to address something that Gary mentioned on just the fact that this trunk line will ultimately be owned by Central Weber. The way that we've talked about this pioneering agreement actually being enforced would be very similar to the process that a commercial user or a resident would have to go through today, where they have to go to Central Weber and obtain a will serve letter. Obviously, if it's a residence, it's 1 ERU per residence. If it's a commercial user, Central Weber will tell them how many ERUs they estimate their project to consume. Central Weber would then put that in their will serve letter like they already do, calculate the total number of ERUs, and then the county would collect the impact fee, which, if I understand right, is the way that things currently operate today. So administratively, we don't see there being a huge change there, just to address your concern on that, Gary.
Central Weaver agreed to maintain the administrative aspect of how many ERUs have been used, how many are left, and they'll maintain all the logs for that. So that all the county has to do is just, when they get the ERU count with the will serve letter, Central Weaver would earmark it saying, here's the ERUs subject to a pioneering agreement. Then a simple calculation of, okay, it's $1,300 times this added to the invoice is what the county would have to do.
Did you approach Central Weaver about doing a pioneering agreement with them?
They don't collect the funds, so
So they said no?
they can't, they are willing to be a participant in the process, which is why they're willing to shoulder all the administrative burden of it. But they just don't do the collections. The county collects all impact fees for them currently, at least that's what we understand.
Cause we won't actually be touching that line at all. Once it's built, we'll never
Yeah,
be
yeah,
in the
so-
building, we'll never operate anything, we'll never pull a manhole lid on it. And so that's why it's a little tricky for us to collect anything, do anything like that, because it's not a system, it's not a piece of infrastructure. We are functionally over the oversight of it.
Do you guys collect fees, impact fees for Central Weaver now though?
We collect monthly operational fees for them.
Well, like when somebody comes in for a building permit, do they collect the fee?
So,
They must.
yeah,
Central Weaver
collects
their own fee.
We collect the impact fee at the time of building permit.
Well, Central Weaver's exactly.
Central Weaver.
And then we just disperse that back to them.
but then quarterly, there's a reimbursement made from the county to Central Weaver for all fees collected up to that point.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're saying is like, they don't want to then, given that they don't collect fees from individuals or from applicants, they just want to layer it into the impact fee that's collected that you guys collect is what they're asking for. They're not opposed to an impact or like being a part of the process, which is why, like I said, they said they'll take on the administrative burden of calculating ERUs and dealing with how many are left and things like that. They just don't collect the funds.
If it was a road or another piece of infrastructure like a trail or something we were over, it's a little bit simpler, right, for us to collect a fee or a use fee on that. But where this is infrastructure, we're not physically over operating or overseeing. Gets kind of messy for us to assess fees.
Help us understand the complexity there, because the way that we've understood it from Central Weaver is just that, they issue their Central Weaver impact fee sheet that gets built into the building permit fee schedule. And that fee would include this pioneering impact fee and then,
So-
that's how it would be processed.
The way I'm seeing this though is, this is not a pioneering agreement with Weber County. Because we don't own the infrastructure. This is essentially a pioneering agreement with Central Weaver and we're just collecting the fees on their behalf. Because administratively, it's easier for us to do that. Is that,
I mean, it's,
that's more what I'm seeing, but.
yes
I
and no.
I agree with what Gary's saying, just because where this is not county infrastructure. If we're saying that this is a pioneering agreement with Weber County and we are assessing these fees, I'm not sure what we're assessing fees for because it's not our infrastructure.
For example, to answer your question, Dallin, when the first house in Bennett Farms comes online and applies for a building permit, they're gonna come to us, they're gonna ask for the building permit, and we're gonna say, we want will serve letters from the water and the sewer. At which point the will serve for the sewer won't be issued until they've worked that out. They'll need to annex into the sewer district. At which point they'll discuss whatever fees are associated with it, how many ERUs, all the things like you've discussed.
Mhm.
The difference is, we're not, like, we have lift stations we are over, a lift station we're over. And that's when we would have those discussions when
Yeah.
building permits come to us. That's where this is different.
I guess the complicated part about this one, Sean, is that this was a county study that said this is what you should size it at, that we agreed to upsize to meet the county's requirements. And then we jointly went to Central Weaver and said, will you take this?
Right.
So it's kind of we said we need to put in a sewer line. You said, well, if you're gonna put in a sewer line, please increase it to this size based on our regional study. We jointly went to Central Weaver and said, take it. And, I think there were a couple commissioners that went and Stephanie went and multiple people from staff that were there in the board meeting asking them to take it. And so that's why it's a little complicated, because the upsizing request came from the county on to us.
So.
But it is Central Weaver.
And your word that, so you talk about going from 3% to, that your share was to
Yeah.
whatever capacity we have now. So where was that document, or show me where that document is that actually required or requested you upsize that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of there's an Aqua engineering study that talks about how the county increased the capacity on the Black Pine line in order to accommodate regional. That we have the study, you guys have the study that talks about additional capacity being added. Like, shame on us for not documenting the development agreement. We probably should have done that. I think we went into it maybe thinking that we were bulletproof, but obviously not. But there are meeting minutes and things like that for board meetings from the sewer district, where the county is explicitly saying that we've asked Black Pine to upsize this line. So we're following a study that was procured and paid for by the county. We're sizing it to the exact scope and spec in that study. And there was a request by the county to the sewer district that they were asking us to upsize the line, and would you guys take it? So.
Can I ask one other question? For sure, are you okay if I?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
So
please.
there's been, and I don't know all the details here, but there has been some discussion that the lift station that is currently being built was not built to the full capacity that it was supposed to be built to, apparently. Am I missing something? I'm hearing 6,000, I'm hearing 3,000
Yeah.
ERUs. What's the, I
Yeah,
just want to get that out on the
yeah,
table
Bowen
here.
Collins did a study for LMSA recently and they reached out to your engineer. And they had reported back to Bowen Collins that it was gonna be built, that it's being built at 4 million gallons per day instead of the 6 that the study recommended.
It's sized for 6 million gallons per day.
Okay.
Initially, I believe there are 4 pumps inside. We're installing 3 to begin with because there's not enough flow to mandate the
Sure.
4th. But it is built for 6 million gallons per day.
Yeah. Is that in an agreement?
No,
The size?
The size and the capacity?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that we designed it to the exact spec of Aqua Engineer.
Okay, so you took the study and basically said, since that was submitted to Central Weber, that anything over what your capacity needed was an upsized request from the county.
Yeah, and that's what was relayed to that's what was relayed to Central Weaver from the county in the meeting too. That you guys are requesting us to upsize the line. Cause I think, you think about it, like, why would we volunteer to spend 21 million instead of 3 million to service the same need of our project? Like, there's no one that can look at that on a common sense basis and think that we'd volunteer to do that.
Was Central Weaver, I really don't know the answer to this, was Central Weaver willing to accept your originally proposed line? Or did
The
they?
smaller line,
The small line, I don't think they were,
It's my understanding they were not.
It wasn't even discussed.
yeah.
so it wouldn't even be possible.
Yeah, it wasn't even discussed. Because theoretically, we could have just built a force main all the way down and tied it into their system.
May I take a minute?
Sure, go ahead. And we're running out of time here,
Well,
but go ahead.
I've not been to the Central Weaver Sewer meeting ever. I wasn't present in that meeting you're saying where the request was. But I have said in these meetings when you've come in, and there were some specific requirements that were on the table when this project was originally, we were going through it in 2022, even maybe a little earlier than that. And it seemed to me that I remember that there was quite a willingness from the organization that you represent. And I won't call it any of the names because there's so many of them, quite frankly, out there. It was originally called something else. And but the upsize the line did come up. We had been in the middle of that over on the south side of the railroad track with the Taylor Landing or whatever that was called over there. That was a concern of ours that we put in the right pipe size to begin with. And the willingness from that side of the table seemed to be without a problem, and we didn't talk about anything about pioneering agreements. This is the first time I'm really hearing about pioneering agreements for 4 years. In good faith, I felt really good with this project, because we had been so proactive in lobbying for money, whether it was from an ARPA grant or whether it was from back and forth. Part of the reason we did the school, I went over there to do the school, was to help you get across the finish line. That was a touch and go for a long time to help you guys get that done.
Yeah.
And we've always come to the table and been a champion for you. Now to me, this seems like, well, there's another trough of money we can get money from possibly, and we want it. And I'm a little taken aback. I'll just be straightforward.
Yeah.
Like, what else? I mean, we've done everything plus more with the 5 million on the ARPA that I don't remember being a part of the original discussion. So to me,
Yeah.
to me, I think that we've squeezed all the juice out of this orange or lemon or whatever you want to call it there is, and now we're trying to get a little more. And so that's where I am right now. I just wanted to voice my opinion.
No,
In the meantime, so that's where we are. I respect the fact that it's a lot more, and we've worked with a lot of folks and haven't been just a little bit in construction for a long time, that these are just part of the things that come up. I mean, I know that's a big delta, a lot bigger delta. I don't know all your numbers, but it was part of the deal. And then to that too, we also, I mean, for heaven's sakes, I went out to Kentucky to make sure that the other side of the river was a good deal before we did all that density and things like that. So I feel like from my position, we've advantaged that at every single turn. And now to ask us to do even more labor to make this go, I think it's too far for me.
okay.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
Commissioner Ballas, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I will say that, I share the same concerns as Commissioner Harvey. But one thing that is an additional concern for me is that we don't own the infrastructure, and our staff address that. That's a big concern for me to facilitate this when it's not our infrastructure. So that's the only thing that I would add to those concerns that I share with Commissioner Harvey.
Okay, thank you for that.
do you mind?
Is there anything else?
No, I think now we've covered everything, my concerns.
Daniel?
I was gonna say, if you mind,
No,
don't
go
mind
ahead.
if I respond to Commissioner Harvey. So the development agreement that we signed originally back in 2022 contemplates there's multiple forms of financing for the infrastructure that we'd articulated here. one of which is the $5 million ARPA fund. So that was part of the original transaction. It's actually in the development agreement.
So we must have been further ahead on that than I remember.
Yeah, so
We
it was,
requested it at that point. in time.
yeah, so it was basically,
Senator Stevenson.
it is in the development agreement that the first project to go would be the sewer lagoons and the development, and then anything that was excess would come to this project. The pioneering agreement is also clearly articulated in the development agreement as an option for reimbursement mechanism and the PID. So all three of those are in the development agreement that we signed back in 2022. Our original request for a pioneering agreement came to the county almost 2 years ago. So we've been working with staff trying to work on this pioneering agreement for over 2 years. The fact that it's just getting to your desk, unfortunate, but it has been over 2 years of good trying.
We've also said no.
Yeah.
We directly said
It's
no.
been to the commissioners before.
And so it's
I
being
just-
asked again.
Yeah,
And so I think we're all experiencing a little bit of fatigue. And so, I mean, we were pretty direct in our last response,
Yeah.
of no.
So
Unless the
Daniel, you
commission-
said the pioneering agreement was
in the,
in the original. Does it say that the county will do a pioneering agreement?
It's any upside, it talks about.
Is it a
just
may or a
any-
shall?
It's any type of upsizing that's required by the county would be subject to pioneering agreement.
Or other financing method. This is an option of many options we could enter into.
So
Yeah,
When it's required by the.
in the
county.
legislature, we call that a may.
I'm just
Okay.
saying it's the language contemplating a pioneering agreement in the development agreement. It's not, that's what I was saying earlier, shame on me for not making it explicit.
Yep.
But
Well-
it's, the concept is, I just wanted to make it clear that we're not asking for a concept that's like, we haven't talked about before. That's all I was trying to say.
Okay, well, I think I have a couple of issues. First being that there was nothing definitive in the development agreement that basically addressed that a pioneer agreement would in fact be in place, and that the upsizing was based on a study, and again, nothing clearly directive from engineering that said upsize that line. But what I will do, so right now, I'm a little torn because I think we've, as Commissioner Harvey stated, I think we've jumped through a lot of hoops for you guys. Not that it's not worthwhile.
or appreciate, I mean.
I appreciate.
We did it.
We appreciate it. And so my gut feeling is I'd like to try to help you. But I think that help needs to come from Central Weber. Now, I happen to have a board meeting tonight, so I will be attending Central Weber. To me, my main issue is this, that's a Central Weber line. I don't think it may be legal, but I don't think it's responsible for the county to collect an impact fee or it's an impact fee for another entity. I would prefer to go to Central Weber and say, look, it's your line, you guys collect it, deal with Daniel and his group. They've got to collect, or they've got to calculate the ERUs already, so what's to stop them? And I know what their answer will probably be, but there's no legitimate reason, they're going through the ERU calculation, here's what they're gonna charge for that connection.
And then Commissioner, if
That
we
makes
were,
sense.
if we were to collect it, we're collecting the fees anyway, and then we just disperse that back to.
Yeah,
Weaver.
that's, again, if it's their line, they're gonna they agree to reimburse on a pioneering agreement, they should be the one in charge of the money, not us. All we're,
I don't feel good about dictating to another district what we are going to, that's not what we do, that's not, I don't know that that's legal for us to
Well,
do. I wouldn't do that for the fire district or the.
But you're saying Central Weaver will tell us exactly
yeah,
what.
They've
the
already
charge is
agreed to
going
do
be.
that.
but my point is, they're telling us exactly the ERUs, they know all the data, we don't know. We're receiving a letter, it's one additional click for them to take that ERU that, instead of sending it to us, they send it to the developer, the builder, the homeowner, whoever it may be, and bill them. Now, they may not like that, but they now own the line. So
That's true.
so that's where I'm at. And again, I appreciate it that you went off the study. I want to get Kevin's opinion in terms of really what the communication was in his opinion. I asked him to be at this meeting. I guess
He wasn't able to make it.
Well, he's got a board meeting tonight, so.
He and James both had conflicting meetings.
So anyway, I'm willing to do that. I'd make one request though. From this point forward, I would work with Crockett. I'll communicate with Crockett and any of that communication. He's your direct source. Go to him only,
Yeah, that's fine.
if that's all right.
Yeah.
And
we've
to
been
me,
communicating.
the communication is getting too spread out. We need to narrow that back down. And again, right now, I'm not saying it's a yes. I'm saying I'm willing to investigate this and then we'll see. But if we can get this transferred over to Central Weber, all you guys is want the money. You don't care where the money comes from.
We just want ability to pay off the debt.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not from the county side, I'm a no. But if it were to come another way, I'd maybe consider it, but
Well,
from
Central-
the county side, I'm.
If Central Weber takes it, it's not our decision.
That's
Theirs.
why, that makes sense. It's about time that they share in some other parts of this,
Yeah.
this is a great service for out there, you've done a great job. I want it to be successful, I wish it were successful right this minute. 4 years ago, I'd kind of hoped that we'd see buildings out there and a lot of red iron and people in them by 2025, and we're not there yet. I had hopes, so this has taken a long, but it's a big deal, lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's a big line. I mean, the sewer line itself took.
Well, the whole
over a
project's a big
year to
deal.
design. It's a
Yeah.
heavy lift.
So I guess you have. So as far as the county, we're a no. In terms of helping you get there through Central Weber, I personally, not Weber County, will see what we can do to turn some wheels there for you.
Perhaps you and I can touch base after tonight's meeting.
Yeah, yeah. Then we can just, if we need to regroup out at Central Weber, I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
We won't have we won't have a decision tonight, but at least I can talk to Kevin and we can set up. If you guys will entertain it, I can set up another meeting out there
Yeah, we're happy to talk with whomever.
at Central Weber. Cause really, to me, that's not the best. That's the only path that we have forward, the way I see it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you,
Appreciate the
gentlemen.
time. Thank you. Way over.
Over. All right, Gary, there you go.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Be with you.
Do we make it clear or not?
So, yes, sir, just quickly. My only question is on.
Okay, well, 2:30, wow, excuse for the
No, inside.
meeting, discuss a proposed general plan amendment as recommended by the planning commission, who we have two of us with us today, to update the plan's future land use map between 5100 West and Weber River and the south of the Union Pacific Railroad, to provide and or update supportive or recent legislative discussions. Charlie Eward's with us, Tammy Adelot, Rick Grover's not with us, Sean Wilkinson, Gary Myers, Ashley Tolman, Andrew Favero, and Casey Neville. Okay, and Ashley, did I mention you, Ashley? Yeah, you're there. Okay. So Charlie, you're up first.
Commissioners, I've asked
We
Tammy to
have-
take the lead on
Just
this.
so you know, we've got Commissioner Bolos online.
Oh, great. So I've asked Tammy to take the lead on this.
Okay. You've got a packet with a memo that outlines some of these changes. So what is being presented before you today are changes to the general plan maps. That we're looking to get before you in the next little bit here. And I wanted to kind of walk you through and show you what those look like. You've got a couple of pages behind that show before and after. And some dialogue boxes that kind of specify those changes. So I'm just gonna kind of walk you through this slick map that Charlie put together.
Okay,
If we're looking online, what you're looking at right now is the before picture of the map. This is what's online right here.
that's this top one right here.
Yeah, and if you look at the screen, yes,
Okay.
sir.
On,
Yep.
okay,
Okay, Inland Port over here. 12th Street here, we've got village areas outlined. Okay, some of these layers of information you're gonna see taken off just so you can see the changes more clearly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna slowly kind of walk you through this, okay? So pay attention to the Inland Port boundary over here in this area. Currently, you've got some multifamily residential here or mixed use.
Mixed residential,
Mixed
so
residential,
multi and single.
right up against some Is this one heavy
heavy commercial.
okay?
So tell me what the yellow is again?
Yellow is medium to large lot residential.
So
What does that mean?
third acre lots.
That's about the 2.9.
And you got it next to heavy manufacturing?
Not right next to heavy.
We've got this mixed use residential.
Oh, okay.
As a buffer now.
Okay.
When this went before the planning commission, they had some feedback about this and wanted to see a little bit more of a buffer between the inland port and the residential. And so what we've got proposed on this is more of an office tech buffer right here. So here's your inland port. We've got this office tech buffer here between the inland port area and this residential here.
Planning commission?
That was the change they wanted to see to explore.
Well, I like buffers, you know that.
Okay. How you doing, Commissioner Harvey?
I'm
You good
trying
so
to
far?
keep up.
Okay.
Do you
You're
need-
gonna
Do you need
see,
a slide back?
yeah, here's here's the existing map right here.
And what does yellow represent?
That's the 2.9 units to the acre.
Okay,
Two
okay,
point nine, the multifamily, and then you've got this heavy commercial
okay,
here.
okay.
Okay,
And what does that go, what's the gray?
It's overlaying on, it's kind of a purplish color, and that is the
Okay.
light manufacturing.
Light manufacturing.
Mhm.
So it's a crosshatch, there's a quasi there, you got the brown crosshatch over the purple. Brown being office tech and the purple being light manufacturing. So we're basically saying there needs to be a buffer between the single family and the light manufacturing.
Right.
And we're preferring that it be like an office tech or an office park or just something like that, that gives a quiet buffer between single family residential and any of the heavier industrial uses.
Okay, so where does the heavy industrial come in then?
So-
Over here to the north?
Yeah, so it'll start under the brown crosshatch,
Okay,
and it's all over to the west there.
got it. Okay,
okay.
And this does follow the port boundaries.
okay.
Better than the existing map.
Yeah,
So really what we're doing is looking at that inland port site here
Mhm.
and just making modifications there.
Yep, just making the plan reflect the boundaries of the port.
Yeah, okay,
So the plan was put together, the map was put together before the port
Yep.
boundary was decided on.
makes sense. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Your next set of changes is gonna be to this kind of wetland area here. So as I move this over. There's a couple of changes here. You can see that the river crossing, first of all, which where 1600 crossed the river. We're gonna straighten that alignment out and have
Wow.
it cross the river at 1800. Okay. And you're gonna see a lot of this green area go away. And you're gonna see more
Okay.
residential here. Now, these little kind of stipple marks here, these represent some wetter areas that we will have the developer address when they submit a development application.
Okay,
Okay. The other thing I want to draw your attention to is this area right here. We've kind of expanded this use to the other side of a proposed corridor alignment. Let me kind of move this back.
is that legacy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
You can see all this green area that's on the existing map. We're thinking it might make sense to have these uses on either side here, depending on how that alignment shakes out,
It'd be
where the
a,
exits are.
it'd be a good commercial node, if we can get an interchange there at 2550.
so is that commercial then?
Yeah, mixed commercial, you've got vehicle oriented commercial and mixed housing.
Yeah.
So a little bit higher density node would be there.
It seemed like to the planning commission that there needed to be something there. Not just an interchange, but something that could be a little bit more than just an interchange on and off. the city.
Well, if you look at what Davis County's done, any of their, it looks like that's prime commercial right now.
Yep.
That's where your development will take place.
Right, right.
So, yeah,
And then one other thing up on 1800 to note, and I'm sorry, maybe Tam.
No, you're
mentioned it,
good.
But that straightens 1800 out so that curve off of 18 to the north to 16 and then back to 18. It eliminates that and aligns everything up with what the planning commission, and I believe how the commission approved the MDA for Westbridge.
Yep.
Right.
So that straightens 1800 out.
That's the road you wanted, Harv.
Yeah,
Well, I sure like that straight shot,
much better.
better than two curves.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
So you can see some of these adjustments are just based off, it's just memorializing the little decisions that we've made between 2022 and now.
Yeah.
But others of them, like the big green area going to different colors, those are more of the substantive changes that.
So really, what
We've
we're
been
talking about is kind of a cleanup based upon what the inland port now didn't exist before, and when we did this, and then making some alignments work for us based upon what we know now for Westbridge and some of these others.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Is that right?
Right, and easier transitions, like down at the port,
Yeah.
that's a much softer transition than heavy industry
Well,
right on top of, you
Yeah,
know.
those transitions, boy, I think we've really got to look closely anywhere else we have them. It makes no sense to, if you're gonna have heavy industrial, butt up against any residential,
Right.
we're just making stupid decisions.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to point out this area here. Charlie reminded me to let you guys know, this is the bird refuge area. That's why this green area here
Remember that.
Yeah.
hasn't changed.
Kind of weird island.
Yeah, we've kind of kept that. This is what it looks like now. This is the proposed, is to keep this area here. And then the last change, commissioners, if you'll pay attention to 12th Street here where it curves up into 1150, you've got this commercial area here. This is vehicle oriented commercial here. All of this is zoning, this future zoning.
Kind of salmon color.
Mm-hmm.
Future, tell me what that is again.
Vehicle oriented. Vehicle oriented
Commercial.
commercial, yeah, and then the darker red in kind of a box just above the salmon color, that is mixed use commercial.
Okay.
So that's kind of your village core, and then the salmon that runs along that buffers 12th Street is more of your vehicle oriented bypass types of uses, kind of like 12th Street. It's kind of like 12th Street, and then 4700 be a little bit more like maybe 25th,
Okay,
slightly.
So we've added some cross hatching here to allow for the option, if the market calls for it, for some mixed use residential.
okay,
Okay, they can go either way. If the developer wants to develop some vehicle oriented commercial, they can, but they also have the option for some mixed use commercial. And then this area here, this was a recent map change. I think, Charlie brought, when did you bring this before the commission?
It was in May, I believe, when it was adopted.
Okay.
So that's the form-based zone street regulating plan.
right.
You recall, we kind of made the footprint of the mixed use commercial area a little smaller in that area. This just reflects that change.
Okay,
That's what we've got, commissioners. Do you have any
planning commission okay with that?
Yeah.
Well, that makes, yeah, I mean, one thing I worry about is we designate something as commercial. That makes no sense because we're 40 years out where somebody could use residential or put some type of mixed housing on it. And we take that out of the picture, so.
We've had a lot of conversations in work session about that. How do you try and set aside land and not use it, or
Yeah.
do you just let it be used and then let it flip to another use? So yeah, we've had a lot of good conversations
So
there.
basically, what we're saying is that you give the option to the property owner based upon market conditions.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh, what a concept, let the market run. Interesting.
And I would say that the property owners and the community were in much of support of this. I don't think we had one negative comment. did we?
No,
Okay, so you've had public hearings on this and general support. Well, everything I see makes good sense. You've taken the heavy manufacturing, layered that, basically. You've given some options on the side off of 12th Street, and you straighten that road. Okay, Commissioner Harvey.
Couple of things. First off, I was hoping that this would be addressed here. How are you gonna get the people eventually over the railroad track? Fly? Are you gonna fly that thing all the way, and then do you account for the slope going down?
yes,
So there's enough slope from here to here.
yes. Other way, so the black line is 12th Street.
Yeah.
The railroad's just below that. So the intention is to have 12th Street, or excuse me, 4700 West go over the railroad
Yeah.
after 12th Street, not before 12th, on the south side. So from 12th Street to the railroad, you've got, gosh, if I remember right.
This is about 1150.
Yeah.
Not 12. That's 12.
You're
That's about 1150.
Yep.
You're gonna say it's gonna go up, over, and then down?
Nope, it'll go up on the south side of 12th or 1150.
So it starts to climb right here
Uh-huh.
and then go up, over,
Yep.
and then come back down.
Yep. And there is enough room there. We did measure it. We did check.
Okay, that's first thing.
We checked with the railroad. They need, I think it was 24 feet of clearance.
What's the density here?
Mixed residential, we have not assigned a density to it. It really is kind of a developer, tell us what the market's asking for, and we'll decide if that's the right thing for that area.
I know that you're talking about that, but look, and it's just to bring you two into what I've been saying here a lot recently, is this is all great. But there's not a developer that comes in here and says, you know, I want a gated community with 3-acre lots, or I want a really nice. Everybody comes in here and pounds us and says, you know, thanks for giving us 30 acres. We were at 1 acre. But we'd really like townhouses now, to fill this whole thing with townhouses. There's not been one developer since we did this new plan that hasn't come in and pushed us for more. Everyone, they've done the same with you. Because I know they've been to you guys, and then they'll come to us and say, oh, they didn't quite give it to us, give us a little more. I.e., every one of them has done that. So for me, this has been a big deal. I'm looking for a developer to come in and say, I want to give you a regional asset. For instance, I've not seen a developer come in and say, I know we've got Remuda out there, but what about another golf course? What about a regional, like a Roy Aquatic Center, or a regional, some kind of an asset where people can come in? It would draw people from around all other cities, maybe all over the state, maybe all over the Western United States to do that. Where I'm going is I'd like to see something again in this area like a fairgrounds. Can only be zoned as a fairgrounds. Look, and I'll say this, and I know we're on the record, but I don't mind saying, I got 2 more years here. I'm going away, and it'll take an act of Congress to change the use of the fairgrounds. But it'll happen, and the fairgrounds is going away. It's gonna happen. And they'll use that. Ogden City, first and foremost, is highest and best use, because they can capture so much more tax. Most people in Ogden City, I don't know if you've been there lately, but they don't have horses like they used to have anymore. Not even out in the west. They're cows. They're more metropolitan, and they build as many of those apartment things as they can. Their highest and best use to curve their amount, or to get as much tax as they can. And that's what they should be doing. And the fairgrounds is next. We do not, here's the big thing. Weber County does not own the ground under the fairgrounds. Ogden City does. That lease is finite. It will go away. I would like to see a regional asset, and we'll call it a fairgrounds for now. We're even conceptually somewhere out in here for a fairgrounds. 150 acres minimum.
You mind if I address that?
Well, I'm not done with my diatribe, but
sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, no.
Now that you've interrupted.
I apologize. I can be patient.
It's your job. Go ahead.
Okay. So we are working with landowners out in that area. We have talked about a few different locations where 150 acres can be set aside. At least 150 acres can be set aside. We've got 2, if not 3 developers. One of them may be purchased by another here pretty soon. Committed to providing a fairground before the end, or area for fairground before the end of the year. And so if the plan changes, one of the challenges is if we put the fairgrounds in a definitive location on the map now, we don't have all the information we need to know that we have the right spot. But we can have that information by the time the landowners are looking.
Well,
for
you've got issues east of the river because of the right federal highways, and so it's not gonna go right there. But you need to get your meeting done on Wednesday, and I think you'll be happy with the outcome. But it's not gonna go east of the river because of federal lands and what they've got right of ways through there.
Wait a second. The fairground will go east of the river, or the highway?
The
Highway?
You don't have 150 acres that's contiguous because of the right of way, the federal highways that come through. That creates a problem.
Sorry, go ahead, Charlie.
I was gonna say, there's a couple of different options. I know that Westbridge folks,
Right.
they've let us know that beyond the conversation you're gonna have at the next work session, they've got some land on the east side of the river that they'd like to bring into their development, and so they'll be coming in for a modification to their boundaries with you guys, and they're committed to setting aside 150 acres for fairgrounds
Well,
in
we've
a
got to work within
reasonable
those
location.
federal highways.
Here's the thing, okay,
Yeah.
fine, but they all want, again, they don't want to stick at the 2.9 or the third acre lot, right?
Right.
They want to have more density. Well, so if there's gonna get more density, they're gotta give up something, and that's part of what that for me, that's conceptually, this isn't a new concept for us. This is where I am on that. I'm gonna put my sword in the sand on this, just so you know. And I may be 2-to-1 on this, but I don't wanna keep giving up more density without a regional asset. We don't even have to call it a fairgrounds. You can call it a new drone port for travel. I want a regional asset that will bring people into the community where they'll stay in hotel rooms and help with tourism. Tourism, to be able to generate tourism in 100 years or 50 years from now is the quintessential thing, because we derive a ton of tourism that keeps us sustainable here. Tourism is what saved this county during COVID. And a big piece of our tourism will be going away because in the next 100 years, our lease is up. In fact, the next 56 years, our lease is up. It will go away.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose that. I want to be able to have the grandchildren of your grandchildren be able to show in a junior livestock show somewhere. And right now it does not, the way it's going right now won't exist. And this is not for fear. This is fact. I hate fear. I hate fear. But I want to be able to smart plan something like that out there. And so I've got a meeting set up on Wednesday, as you know.
You do.
And we'll talk about that there. But that's where I am. I gotta be able to see it visually. When you slide that little deal, I want to see it, even though you can't. You gotta figure it out.
Okay.
However that goes, so it's contiguous. I get all that, but figure it out. Then there's a lot of smart guys out there that can. But if they want the density,
They'll figure it out.
they'll figure it out.
Okay.
Otherwise, maybe we ought to go back to 1 acre lots.
How'd you feel if the plan had
Okay, we got to keep moving here.
how would you feel if the plan had a paragraph that discussed the fairgrounds?
I don't know.
Making sure that it's here
I
rather
don't-
than laying it out.
I don't know.
Okay.
Right now, I wouldn't be able to. I'm pretty excited.
All right, Commissioner Bolos, any questions, comments?
Yeah, a couple. I agree with Commissioner Harvey on the fairgrounds. I think we need to look at that, but I have never been a proponent of exacting that out on a map just because I think it dilutes our bargaining power if a landowner knows where we want that. But I do want to prioritize that as well. Also, I'm following the map pretty well, but I want you to tell me how many town centers there are. It's a little hard for me to see.
Great. That's a great question.
On the current map,
Yeah.
you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Some of these are like little village hamlets. Some of these are more like the city center.
Yeah, you wouldn't really call them a city center.
Yeah,
May-
more
may-
like okay. I want to know city centers because as I've said before, I don't want to create 2 or 3 or 4 city centers when eventually we expect that to become one city. I don't think it's going to be 2 cities. I think we need to create the plan so that it builds out into a well-planned, thought out city. Other than that, I do really like the buffering. Again, it needs to be flexible because until there are shovels in the ground, I mean, even after there are shovels in the ground, there's no guarantee where UDOT's going to put that road. But I would hope that when shovels are in the ground, that we know where that road's going, or we can influence UDOT as to where that road's going. And at that point in time, then I think the plan needs to have language that sort of resets then around the road. Once we know where the extension's going, I think the plan needs to be reset, saying this is now where the road, so we're now scaling back here, or we're changing this to match the road. I just think the language in the general plan needs to address where the road is when we finally know. Because if not, we have all these options of where that city center would be or where the road might be. And then that if there's no language to accommodate it, that entitles any landowner to just continue forward with what's on the general plan, regardless of the fact that we do only have one road, even though with different city center options, there are plans for different locations. I said a lot of words, so I don't know if that made sense.
The great words. Yes. My question for you would be, do you want to create something in the plan that says at this trigger, the plan's going to be re-looked at for highway alignment purposes? At that point, we'd know where UDOT wants the freeway, or would you rather the plan pre-set up that option?
Oh, the former. I think that's a great idea. I think once we know where that road goes, the future commissioners and the future planning commissioner should absolutely go back and revisit this and say, now, do we want 4 city centers, or now that we know where the road is, do we really only want to establish this city around one?
Yep, that makes sense. Perfect sense. Okay. Can I go over part 2 of change?
Go ahead.
Potential change. I apologize for time. We've got, like Commissioner Bulloss mentioned, there's some planned text that probably should be updated as well.
Plain
Plan
text?
Plan text.
Plan.
The written part, yeah.
Okay.
That should be updated to address some of these adjustments. We can tackle the fairgrounds needs with the text. We could also get in there an alternative plan for the highway, or we can at least get a paragraph that says this plan needs to be readdressed when that highway is known, where that highway location is known. We've got a couple other things you'll see in the bullet points in the memo in front of you. This was the memo that we sent to the Planning Commission. It's still all relevant information for you guys. Where we're looking at combining the plans from the Ogden Valley and Western Weber into a single Weber County general plan. So we don't have things separated and spread out.
I like that.
So we'll have one unified map. We don't have that map finished yet. There isn't going to be huge changes on that map from what we have on the existing maps. They're just going to be consolidated into one. But with those changes, I'll be taking the road alignments that we have in committed development agreements and rezones, just to make sure we're putting out there the current knowledge of where our connectivity is. We'll also be bringing in any decisions that you guys have made since 2022, just to make sure everything is up to speed on that. So the final map you guys see will probably have a little bit of that information. But to get some of our current applicants moving forward, we want to present this map to you guys, the one that's on the screen to you guys, for adoption before we get to the more finer details of the text. That way we can have some of the rezone applications that are in queue moving forward, or at least ask you guys how you want to address that. We can do it in advance, or we can do it later.
Well, I don't have any issues. Obviously, the future golden spike needs to be, whether we put that in text. I think from the conversations I've had, I think we're down the road quite a ways on that, to having a solution to identify at least not maybe 150 acre, but a potential where that could fit.
Yeah.
And work with the developers. I think you could do that with a text.
I think so too, and I do think we can have some more nailed down by the end of the year.
I think so, yeah, from what I've heard. So, yeah, I think we go ahead and at least have the discussion on this based on what you showed us today.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? I mean, it doesn't identify the 150 right now, but again, I think that it doesn't preclude us from putting that in
a development agreement or a rezone
in the future.
Well,
but I don't think we're gonna have a development agreement before the end of the year.
I might could get there. I need to marinate on this a little longer, but I might can get there. I know I know we're time sensitive here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is what we've asked you to do. I need to understand it. I don't think totally understand it yet, so if you'll schedule some more time with me,
Yeah.
I have some more questions for it.
Okay.
I'd like to do that, because I really do want to understand this. This has been, I know there's been a lot of work that's went into this, and I respect that, and I don't mean to discount it with my passion for what I've said, but and I think you're full of crap. I don't think you got enough elevation to go from 1150 all the way up over the railroad track. I'm gonna
We'll leave that up to the state.
Well, I don't want to
So,
do that, and then have to,
Well, that's gonna be a long time down the road. So
yeah.
first question is, this has all gone through the planning commission.
Yes.
No one negative out of all the public.
100% approved.
So this is supported by the planning commission. Commissioner Harvey, you know I usually support the planning commission, so
Usually,
about 99%. Okay, anything else you guys would like to add?
Just to the point, I really appreciated what Commissioner Bowles said about exacting a place for a park.
Yeah.
Whatever that park looks like.
Whoever does, yeah.
I don't think that now's the time on the general plan.
No.
That will come through development as it happens, and I think it will come. I'm just about as sure as I'm sitting in this chair right now,
It
that's
will.
going to happen. So Commissioner Harvey.
But for us to
hopefully that
identify
helps.
hundred
Yeah,
and fifty acres on this plat right, on our map, general
Right.
plan, makes no sense.
this could be to my, just need to still learn.
Yeah, but you're learning, you're doing a good job. Okay, anything else, Charlie? Tammy?
I think so.
Okay, so I just want to be clear, planning commission, public hearings, everything's gone through.
Yep.
I think you have a conversation with Commissioner Harvey. I'd like to get this going. Since you guys have done all the work, I don't want to slow cook you now.
We'll set up those conversations with you,
I don't
Commissioner
want
Ivy,
to
for
slow
this
cook
week.
people, or-
Would you guys be comfortable, assuming everything is cleared with Commissioner Harvey, would you be comfortable seeing this on the agenda a week from tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
We can go further.
That's a lot of meetings to get in between now and then. Let's just see how things go, maybe Wednesday.
Fair
Put
enough.
it on your schedule.
Can do.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Casey, Andrew.
My eyes are still blue, but it's only up to my nose.
All right, I've got a 3:30, so it's next door in my office, by the way.
I'm glad to know that.
If you'd rather take that, you're more than welcome.
No, thank you, though. Is it Miranda?
No.
Oh.
Jim. Valley.
Oh,
Okay. I think we lost Sharon.
yeah, we lost Sharon.
Okay, this is the 245 discuss contract language modification, Westbridge Meadows Development.
Oh,
Change ownership provisions. Charlie.
So you guys recall you looked at this in your normal meeting on Tuesday. Commissioner Harvey asked for a work session to discuss it in a little bit more detail.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this before. I'm with you.
The memo that came with your packet for this last Tuesday's meeting kind of explains the differences, but really the big differences are the Westbridge Meadows folks, they came in, they said there's some challenges with tax implications, there's some challenges with the owner conveyance. What do you do with property that you own that you're not actually a farmer of and you're not running anything, so they kind of want to look at keeping the property in the ownership of the existing owners. And then making those final purchases at the time that they're ready to do phases. As you can imagine, if you're thinking about property rights as that bundle of sticks, if a master developer owns all the property, they own all the sticks. And so it's a lot easier to write a development agreement around that. But if it's multiple owners, it gets a little more challenging.
Right.
So working with Liam on this, we went through the development agreement to make adjustments. We're not necessarily recommending that you make the change. We're leaving that up to you guys. But if you do choose to allow the developer to make the change so that the landowners stay the landowners, master developer becomes the master developer, and through the development agreement, the landowners assign the master developer as essentially the guy who has all the rights to do all the things. Basically an agent, yeah.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure that you guys are comfortable with that. They're ready to sign the development agreement finally. And between Liam and I, we worked with them on all these changes and they said they're just fine.
I think the key language that Liam had put in there and made sure was that the master developer remains on the hook for everything.
Yep.
That there's no getting out of that and passing it on to.
this doesn't expand the existing boundary, does it?
It shrinks it.
takes it down.
Yeah, so they had a couple of owners that
Yeah.
that weren't ready to sign, or I
Right.
shouldn't say aren't ready to sign yet. Doesn't mean that they won't sign. I just spoke with Kelly Penrod. He's one of them. They're just not quite ready to sign. That the agreement basically gives the master developer full control. And so if you're an owner who's not really ready to give master developer full control, you're probably not going to want to sign it.
No,
So you got three different owners who have said,
But
"Let's-"
this doesn't expand it to across to the east side of the river yet.
not yet.
Okay, I understand better.
Okay. Any other questions for us?
so this basically, for the landowners that have signed the agreement, this includes, basically, they still remain an owner.
Yep.
And give the rights to master developer.
Yep.
All other requirements that we had in the previous agreement exist.
Yep.
So basically, this is no different than if I go out and option a piece of ground.
That's right.
So it's under, what they've done is this an option agreement that those owners have agreed. They've got the full rights. I still own the property
Basically, yes.
up until such time as I purchase the ground based upon whatever the county and the master developer agree to.
Yep. Yeah, and there's
So it's an option.
there's some protections written in here where if one of those owners does something that's in violation of the agreement, it's an automatic default of the master developer. So master developer's got to have a pretty strong private contract,
Yeah.
real estate deal with that owner.
That's between
Otherwise,
them.
yeah,
Mhm.
otherwise we
That's
call this
exactly
into.
right.
That's between them. We're not gonna get in the weeds on this.
Yes.
If that individual owner has a problem, that's their fault. It's not ours.
And we put considerable effort
Yeah.
into some of these paragraphs to make sure we're not the referee.
Yeah,
You guys go figure your stuff out.
that's my main concern.
Yep, and that's a good concern. The master developer originally proposed a very small amendment to this
Yeah.
agreement in the size of a paragraph, which Charlie rightly rejected. And we created a much more comprehensive workaround to say exactly that. It's their deal between the private landowner and the
Yeah.
developer. We just want to make sure he's responsible for this agreement. the
We wanna,
developer.
we wanna talk to one person.
Yes.
Yes.
Does this still protect
Or one
the potential corridor of a legacy or?
Yeah, none of that changes.
West River?
None of the land use changes, none of the master plan layout, all of that stuff stays the same. Just shrinking the boundaries a little bit, and then adding in these provisions for the owner to be a signer of the agreement.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, as long as that's very clear, that any disputes between those property owners and the developer stay out of our hair.
Yep.
Can we? If the highway doesn't go through there, can we ask for that property to be in kind donated back for some kind of regional thing instead of them developing over? Let's say that the highway ends up going east of the river. I don't want to just give them back that 69 acres or 63 acres or whatever it is,
Yeah.
I don't want to just give that back to them I want it to be able to be some kind of a regional asset type of a thing.
So the existing agreement, this agreement doesn't change what the existing agreement says about that, which is that if the freeway doesn't go in, everything that's not already set aside for roads and trails within that corridor would go back to the developer. So we'd have to make that change.
I think that would be, I don't want it to go back to the developer. I want it to go to the regional, some kind of a regional thing. I want that to be a leverage as it could go towards a regional asset that I just did my diatribe on.
Okay.
Or they could dedicate that acreage or
towards
more toward that regional asset now, in which case you wouldn't take it.
Let's go.
Exactly. Actually, that's a great idea.
That's
Okay.
that's what I was thinking.
Okay. I'll
Let's cover that bridge now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and You don't have to worry about it later.
That works.
And then if the highway does go there, they not only have the highway, we have a regional asset.
Mhm.
It's called, let's get both
Yes.
pardon gifts.
Don
If that
Fargo.
makes sense.
Yes.
The Westbridge folks, Jeff Meads and Cameron Spencer, they were both asking.
Cameron, that was the guy that was here.
Yes.
I failed to give him the exact time of the of this meeting or of this part of the work session, so he probably showed up at the very beginning thinking that was his. I got to call him and apologize, but they asked a pretty good question of me. They said, should we move this forward so we can get the development agreement signed, or should we pursue the amendment that they want to pursue within the next few months? I said, I don't know, if you guys want something that gets signed, let's get it done and get it signed. But if we want to negotiate a few extra things, then I can get back with them. We could pull this off the table and make the adjustments that we're looking to make.
I would feel much better about this if we included what we just talked about as
Okay.
far as a regional asset. If that highway, it gives us a tot or it gives us a bargaining chip. I like that idea.
Yeah, and or get it right now.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
it.
which would be a minor text amendment to the development. We,
Yeah.
we need 150 acres somewhere in this big block.
Yeah, and they've already got a pretty good amount of open space set aside, so we could probably just add to that. It'll be more than 150 acres.
Well, and don't they have like basketball courts and?
Regional park, a really
So,
big regional park.
In my
by the
mind,
river.
why not have that regional park adjacent to
Yeah.
the little Jimmy Harvey Golden Spike?
Yep. I'm thinking the same thing.
Okay, there you go.
LGHGSEC, in case you're putting
No.
it in.
And time wise, I don't think that necessarily hurts anybody.
No, no, in fact, if they bring in some of the property to the east, I think it'd be pretty simple to bring in some of those properties to the east, get this commitment for the fairgrounds all at the same time.
Okay. Good.
Make it happen.
All right. Appreciate, yeah, and I agree, I think Sharon was off the line, but I think once we hear from UDOT, then we're back to, I won't call it square one, but maybe a square two. Then we start taking a look at the
Yeah.
transportation corridors, look at what we've done there, because that's really a driving factor.
It's a driving.
And
factor.
those nodes become critical for future
Yep.
commercial development, housing, so.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to stop doing our planning.
Right.
Where Andrew, I hope would agree with this, that I want to let UDOT know where we're headed.
Yep.
Even though they don't have to listen to us, at least they need to take a look at our map so that they know, okay, we've already got that corridor protected for you. You know, it's up to you to use it or not.
Yeah.
But I don't, the one does not necessarily preclude the other.
Right.
Correct.
And I don't think we have to let them, well, they probably know that now, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Westbridge project requires them to put right of way
Yeah.
within that corridor anyway, whether it's a county highway or a
Right.
freeway. And I learned a little bit more about the UDOT process. Very briefly, they're not trying to answer the question of where could we put a highway. It's out of all the places we could build a highway, which one has the least environmental impact?
No, that's,
And so they're out there with their eyeballs going, we see water there, but we don't see water there. That's why we're pointing. So when I say they're hedging, they're biased. I don't think it's because of personal biases. I think it's because they could see that that's clearly going to be the path that the federal government wants them to go, which
no,
is
that,
north. But
you're exactly right.
if we get a county byway in here built by a developer over the bridge, that might actually eliminate some of the challenges, and that might be the new corridor because it's been paved through already.
Yeah.
So there's a potential.
No, I think we got both. Best of both worlds.
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks, commissioners.
thank you. I entertain a motion.
Move to sure.
Second, all those in favor,
Aye.
adjourn. Thanks very much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Boy, you
You want to come this next one?
yeah, I'd love to. There extra chairs?
Have